everybody. So today we're going to talk about Salem and my trip. I am house sitting and I am trying to do this video in the basement with these beautiful babies. This one is the most needy. So she's been banging into the tripod already and she likes to yell a lot. So we're gonna try this and see how it goes. And there's another one. I'm sitting on the floor because there's no way I have to give them attention the whole time. Oh gosh, here we go. The camera's gonna be shaky because they're checking out the tripod. And this is gonna be fun. So you're on an adventure with me. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mel. Yeah, Salem's coming up right after this. Welcome to my channel. I am Mel from Mel's Divination, and today we are going to talk all about Salem, my visit to Salem, Massachusetts. This is not my normal setup. I never have cats running around. I am currently house sitting 3 kitties, and they are beautiful. They are my family's cats, and I decided to try to film while dealing with this. It's gonna be adventurous for all of us and distracting. So I wanted to share with you the adventure that I went on to Salem, and I will be adding pictures. Unfortunately, I didn't get to video blog as much as I wanted to because it just was miserable outside. The day that we did most of our adventures, walking around, shopping, checking out things, going on tours, it was downpouring and I just didn't feel comfortable with my camera being out in the rain all day long. I did take a couple of pictures. I was able to take a picture of the town hall that was featured in Hocus Pocus, the movie Hocus Pocus. I was able to take a picture of the outside of the Salem Witch Museum, and I think that's about it. So I will put those pictures at the very end of the video, so stay tuned for those pictures and I'll put in whatever I have at the end. The places that I went with my cousin Kimmy. We stayed for 2 nights. We probably only needed to stay for 1 because we went at the middle of November and there was a lot of things that weren't available or were shut down and there wasn't as many activities to do. We only saw 2 tours because there were 2 places I really did want. There was one that I've already seen and I wanted her to check out. There was one that I just wanted to try the experience. And then we did a lot of shopping. So we went to the famous witch house, and I will put up somebody's picture on this. I have pictures from my past visit there, but it was literally downpouring when we went to the witch house. So I was not able to take any kind of pictures outside. And they did change their setup. They did change their policy since I went in 2019 at the witch house. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the witch house, it is the oldest standing building house still since the Salem witch trials. The trials didn't actually take place there. It was a home of one of the judges, somebody Corwin. I'll look it up and put it in the editing. Judge Corwin, I believe, who was part of the Salem witch trials, and he lived there. It was considered a mansion. I did take pictures back in 2019, so I will include what little pictures I have from that visit in here somewhere. the house has energy. When I went through it the first time in 2019, it was the only place in Salem that I felt dizzy and I felt something. This time around, it was different because you have to book an appointment. And it's hard to get to for parking. There's no parking in that area. So you have to park and you have to walk. And you have to walk kind of far, especially if it's downpouring. So we missed our first appointment and then had to reschedule. And you have to kind of schedule the appointment the day before to make sure that you don't miss out, because there's only a few people allowed in this place. It's like a museum. There's only a few people allowed in this place at a time. The stuff in there is literally from the 1690s. So they ask you not to touch anything. You can read, there's lots of stuff to read. Things like the herbs that were used back then, things like the furniture, the types of family that lived there, etc., the types of dolls, stuff like that. It's very unique to Salem because most of Salem is all about the tourists. It's all about the story. And this witch house is not about the story. It is not guided. It's not a guided tour. It's not dramatized. It is very respected and very respectful. The energy there is very different than other things that I've been to in Salem, and it's worth going. It's worth a visit. It's worth paying homage to the energy there and feeling what it was like back then. The other, I think it was like $9 per person to go to it, and they have a very small gift shop there. The other place that we went to was called the Salem Witch Museum. Now, the reason why I didn't go to this place the first time around is because my first visit in 2019, I didn't check this place out, is because I read Google reviews, and I recommend you do that. The Google reviews were really a mixed bag. And a lot of people said, and now I understand why, that it was, what I recall on the negative side, was that it was like and I'm sorry for the echo, this basement has like no furniture. The museum was more like, it's a presentation, it's not a museum, first of all. And that it was like a wax museum that was made in the 70s and needed to be updated. And that was fair. That was real. That was legit. What it was is you sat through a 30-minute presentation in a dark room, and it took place above you, up above you, and the walls above you, and it's all around the room. And it's in the dark, and little sections light up around you, all around the walls, and all it is a light comes on, and it's a little display of the whatever wax model, and it's talking back in this time, Sarah Goody, and whatever, the judge said this or that. If you've read The Crucible, if you've done any research on Salem at all, you already know all the information. And you're kind of bored during it because you've already read it, you already know the information. I've been researching Salem since I was in 3rd grade, and I'm 40, almost 40. I just turned 39, so it was quite tedious. Okay, sorry, this one got into something she wasn't supposed to. So I can't remember where I left off. Oh, the Wax Museum, the Salem Witch Museum. So the building itself is really cool on the outside. It kind of looks like a castle. I said as I get run over by a bicyclist. But on the inside, it's quite disappointing. The presentation is disappointing. If you don't know anything about Salem, check it out. Definitely check it out because it is cool and it is interesting. But if you've done research, you're just sitting through this guy talking like this the whole time in the dark, looking at these really old wax figurines that don't move. And then once that's done, and depending on where you sit, it's hard to see and you have to walk around and it's awkward, especially during COVID time. And then once that's done, the lights come on and then you have to walk into this other area. And this part was even worse than the first part. We walked in there and they're like, everybody come in, everybody move in. And you kind of do like this U. It's a room that's kind of a circle, but you walk around and they have you walk around a wall so that everybody can fit. And Kimmy and I walked around this wall and we couldn't see where the presentation started. And all it was these big, there was 3 more of these wax statues, 3 sets of them in this room. And it was talking about the timeline of the witch. The first one talked about like in the 1600s. The second one was the Wicked Witch of the West from the Wizard of Oz. And we ended up leaving when they were talking about that because we couldn't see. And we got really frustrated and we just left because they had us walk all the way around and we were behind a wall and we're listening to something that we don't even know what they're talking about. So we ended up leaving. It was expensive too. It was like $15 a person to go to this, I believe. I'm gonna double check it and write it up here when I edit what the exact number was, but I believe it was $15 a person. I would have paid that for the witch house versus this weird presentation. The cats are doing something. I don't know what they're doing, but whatever. They're being quiet enough. It was an adventure. It's something that I can say I did. They also have something called the Peabody Essex Museum that when I went in 2019, they didn't have any kind of witch stuff in it, and this time around they did, but I wasn't impressed by the write-up on it, so I decided not to go. It may be something you're interested in. It looked like it was an artist who was claiming, and they may be one, I don't know, but claiming to be a descendant of the original witches of Salem and using that to create art around it. A lot of people, to be honest, and I didn't do the research, so this person could actually be a descendant of people of Salem, but there really wasn't any true witches in Salem. So it's bizarre that they would say that. I just feel like it was an artist that was capitalizing, to be honest. That was my first feeling, and it just felt very hokey, and we decided not to pay $30 to get into it. Everything's very, very expensive. I don't know, this artist really genuinely may be linked with their genes to somebody who was from Salem. It could be. But I didn't have time to research it because I hadn't heard about it, and I didn't want to spend my hard-earned money on something that I wasn't sure if it was legitimate or not, and if it was somebody just capitalizing, because a lot of people do that. A lot of people will say, I'm from Salem, and they're not actually from a descendant of anybody from Salem. So that was what we went to. That was enjoyable / not enjoyable. If we had had more time, we would have taken a trolley tour, which there wasn't really very many of them offered at this time because of the time of year, because it's getting cold. There's a really cool, and I did this in 2019, and I recommend you guys do it. I don't know how much it costs now, but they offered this trolley tour that does like the whole loop of Salem. It takes about an hour, and it takes you past some of the stuff from Hocus Pocus. It takes you through some of the history of Salem. It takes you past some of the cemeteries, which we didn't get to do because it was pouring. So I do recommend you do that. One of the shops that I mentioned previously that I didn't end up shopping in was called New Aeon. They're closed except for online, which was disappointing. And another shop that I went into but didn't buy anything is called Artemis Botanicals. So if you're interested in anything that's botanica related, it was mostly herbs, almost entire. They have a whole wall of loose herbs, and I didn't really need things like that. So I ended up not shopping there. But it's highly recommended by other people if that's something that you're interested in. As far as how to park, where to park, there's a really big parking garage right next to the visitor center, and pricing wise, it's almost exactly comparable to parking on the street and paying parking meters. And the parking meters, I was really surprised, are by quarters still. In Boston, the parking meters you pay by a credit card or a debit card. So we didn't have any quarters, and we ended up in the parking garage, and it's almost exactly the same price because it's by hour. So it depends on how much you pay, and I think it's like $1.25 an hour. So it's really reasonable, and I would recommend you do something like that if you're gonna drive in there, because you can shop and then drop stuff off in your car, and it's right near all the shops. So it's really a reasonable walking distance. I think that's it. Oh, and the other place I wanted to recommend, and I have to look up how to pronounce it again because I said it wrong 1,000 times, but it's like Zhao's Coffee Shop. It was on Derby Street, I believe. If I'm wrong, I'm gonna edit it and put it right here. It's a really cool coffee shop. We went there 4 times, I think, while we were in Salem, 3 days. It's this really cute place. It is within walking distance of all the areas that I'm talking about. There's also parking on the street, like right near there. And it's very busy. It's very popular. Kimmy had researched it, had heard about it. You can get alcoholic beverages there, and it is a coffee shop. So they have like a wine bar, they have a coffee bar, but you can get alcoholic coffee with it. So we got boozy pumpkin spice, I believe, and they let you walk around with it. Sorry, you can hear Ivy. Ivy, come here. I may have to pause this. They let you walk around with it in Salem with these boozy coffee cups, which is, hi, do you want to say hi? Come here. Come here, say hi to everybody. The needy girl, she's so needy, sorry. So they let you walk around with them in Salem, which is pretty cool. And they have good food. You do have to buy food to buy an alcoholic coffee, an alcoholic beverage. It is something about their policy. The other thing that I had forgotten, Massachusetts has passed a law that marijuana is legal on the street, like legal, just recreational is legal. So that's new since the last time I went to Salem. So there's a lot of people walking around, smoking weed, being silly and laughing. It's unusual because I wasn't used to it. It's fun. It's fun to experience that because everybody's just accepted there. One of the things I really, really enjoy about Salem is that people, even just not during Halloween, dress however they want. And everybody is accepted. There is no judgment, and I love that. I think that is really important because I come from a background that everybody is white, and there's a lot of judgment, especially if you're not a certain size and you don't look a certain way. And I grew up that way, and very, very Catholic, you're supposed to fit into this cookie cutter shape, and that's it. And I love being accepted for whoever and whatever you are. This sweatshirt is one from that place that I mentioned, Coons, on my previous video. I bought this in 2019, but they do have ones like this on their shop that you can get. They are thinner though, which is disappointing, but I love that the neckline is like this because I don't like the sweatshirts that choke you. And there's a pocket here. I think that, it's held up. It's been like 3 years. I think that's all I really wanted to talk about. I can't think of much else. So I recommended parking. I recommended a place to get coffee. I recommended different shops and tours. There's also a wand shop if you're interested in that, but I didn't go to that. It's very Harry Potter that you could, it's like out of Harry Potter. You could walk in and get a wand, which is cool. I don't use wands, so I didn't feel the need for that. There is a lot of gift shops, a lot of types of places that are meant for the tourist, and it's by the seaport, which is also pretty cool. And there's a lot of different places to eat, but we weren't there for long enough for me to give any recommendations for that. What we ended up doing for dinner was we took the train into Boston and we went and ate at Lolita's, which is this really, really fabulous authentic Mexican restaurant. It's my absolute favorite restaurant. So if you ever have a chance to go there, I do recommend going there. You may find me there someday. Ivy. So I'm gonna have to wrap this up. Because little Miss Angsty over there needs attention. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna add some pictures in whatever video I have. I'll even add pictures of Lolitas, because I do have a few pictures of Lolitas. Ivy Lee, come here. And the next video that I'm planning for you guys, I'm gonna go over the astrology planners, and then I'm gonna walk through the Magic of I one, and I'm prepping Doreen Virtue. I may have to do 2 parts to that because there's a lot to it. I want to do it a thorough video, so I may have to do it in 2 videos. I hope you guys have an awesome day. Comment below your experiences of Salem, places you liked, places you didn't like. Let me know if you've been to the witch house, if you've been to the not wax, I want to call it the wax museum, the witch museum. Let me know if you liked this. And if you liked the kitties, or if they were too distracting. I will take criticism as long as it's constructive. Enjoy your week. Happy Thanksgiving, because I will not be posting another video in between now and Thanksgiving. I don't think. I will try, but I don't know if I will have time with these little monsters running around. And I wish you guys all a wonderful week. Bye. Hold that thought.